All right, we are live with Lynnette. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. Okay, do you see the chart?
I do.
Okay. So when's your birthday?
October 18th, 1981,
Mm-hmm.
and at 5:45 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
in Sumter, South Carolina.
Sumter.
Sumter.
Without the P, I guess.
Yeah.
Sumter.
Mm-hmm.
Sumter. Okay, 4 degrees Aries rising.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Wow. Okay, you have a very strong Mars chart already. Just because your Mars is conjunct Regulus. Okay, I'm sure we'll get there. Okay, wow. Wow, what an interesting. Wow, this is really interesting.
Yep, this is about to be a little fun, maybe. I'll take notes as well.
Oh, okay. All right, let's just dive right in.
All right, let's go.
So, for the people watching, Lynnette actually shared a few things, just a few things, before we started recording. And I'm immediately feeling the stellium in the 7th house Libra. Because you said that you're working with CEOs and high performing people,
Yes, so
right? Can you say more about that?
I am a longevity coach, and I work with everyone from CEOs to celebrities, high performing people, helping them with their longevity, their wellness, their food, their focus, their fitness, their peptides, everything along the lines to make them as best as they can be to show up for themselves for their work. So I've had a very circuitous career. When I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor and live in Los Angeles. And I ended up studying to do that when I was younger. In high school and AP Bio, took Latin, and then all of a sudden I decided I wanted to be an artist. And so then I ended up going to school for art and then working in the arts and entertainment industry for about 10 or 11 years, and then moved to Mexico for about 6 years. And then that's when I got into the wellness. So no, I'm not quite a doctor, but the work that I do, food is medicine and lifestyle and longevity. I now live in Los Angeles. This is my 10th year here, and I found a way to do it my way. So I'm a doctor living in Los Angeles for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So can you give an example of what you might do with someone or what you're doing with someone currently?
Yeah, so we do a few things because I am an intuitive, and I am mostly a clairaudient. So I hear things versus seeing them. Although I'd say I'm about 20% clairvoyant, but generally I hear the things. And so that's a big part of the initial work. So, of course, I'm looking at their labs, their blood work, and looking at any trackables, looking at their lifestyle, looking at what they're eating on a regular basis, what their fitness plan is, what their just day-to-day baseline is. But then I'm also looking at, from an intuitive perspective, just how they're feeling and where they're coming from, because for true transformational change, particularly with clients that have weight loss goals and certain body transformation goals, a lot of that is stuck in emotion. A lot of that is stuck in childhood trauma. A lot of that is stuck in just their day-to-day emotional lives versus their professional lives. So I definitely dig into that the first one or two sessions. So yeah, there's definitely a metaphysical aspect to everything else that's happening on the biological and physiological side of things.
Okay, and you lead people through these transformations. And as I understand, are they primarily like physical? And no, of course, because you said emotional transformations in the first place.
Yeah, so things definitely come up that are emotional, because that's, look, food is food is emotion, it's culture, it's convenience. You know, we eat our emotions a lot. And so when people are coming in, this is much bigger than, oh, I just want to lose 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 pounds. This is all of the emotions that are surrounding how you got there in the first place, or surrounding the emotions on why you can't essentially do this on your own. People can have meal plans, people can have fitness plans, but it ultimately takes the discipline and really just the internal alignment for them to be able to initiate the plan and then stay consistent with the plan. And that's much bigger than, oh, just I want to do it. It's like, okay, I have some things that I'm a little stuck with and I need to be able to push this through. So again, some of those things come up in the work and we're able to identify those things along with everything else that is just the science to it. So it's really a combination where science meets spirit.
Mm-hmm. So you inform them and you get to understand them and you get to understand their particular myriad of characteristics, and then you kind of make systems that they can follow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ultimately down to how open that they are, right? Because some people are a little bit more logical and like, hey, you know, just look at the blood work and give me the plan. And, you know, they feel like they can do it. And, you know, then there's some clients where they've come to me and the first thing they're saying, like, oh, I've tried all these different things, but it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. And it's just like, okay, you can't outsource your responsibility. It didn't work. No, you didn't work. Right. So everyone kind of comes with different things.
So you coach people, you mentor them.
Yeah. So it's a big coaching thing. And then I yeah.
I guess that's a really big part of your life.
It is. But I will say I have like a side aspect to my life. And I think that's because I'm a creative and kind of artist at the core. So I definitely require like another outlet of things. So um, when I was younger, I played an instrument. And I kind of got away from it, but I've always really been tied to music a lot. So in recent years, I've picked up a musical kind of side quest. So that's DJing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So by day, I'm looking at like medical journals, and then by night, I'm like mixing songs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, I'm even going to remove Saturn. No, I feel Saturn pretty strongly from the perspective of you're holding these people accountable.
Yeah.
And you're their support, and also the one to just tell them what they need to do, like help them organize, help them understand, help them order things correctly, right? How to set up plans. That's all the structural stuff I feel Saturn. But really the rest of it, I feel the Sun, Mercury, Pluto, Jupiter, right? These deep transformative conversations that you have with people.
Yeah. 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 I figured that out. I mean, I've always kind of known that just kind of through childhood. You know, again, childhood, a lot of things can come up for that, but I realized it was going to be a little bit more, it was going to be a little bit less cut and dry. I think it was maybe like around 2017. I was still hosting like retreats in Mexico, and I remember I was doing a discovery call for this woman, and it was supposed to be like 15 minutes, and then it ended up being an hour. We were not talking about fasting. We were not talking about anything that had to do with that. We ended up talking about this like 17-year situationship that she was in, that the guy ended up marrying somebody else. And I'm like, how did we get here? She says, I don't know. It's just something about the way that you present yourself, like on social media, that just made me feel like you would just I'd be able to talk with you about this and you would be able to kind of just
Yeah.
like just get in the shit with it. And I'm just like, word? I'm like, okay. But I again, through a lot of circuitous movement, I've been able to kind of get back to that, because I had a startup for most of the past 10 years. And I realized, like, wait a second, like, I'm not really like trying to be like a CEO, and it didn't work out really well. And then that's when I got back to just really the one-on-one coaching aspect to it. Because basically a mentor was just like, you need to scale yourself, you know, just all of this big shit. And then I did my best to do that. And it was like, okay, wait a second, this is actually not it. So yeah, I got back to really what's best. And I remember when I separated from my partner in 2016 to come back to the States to work on this. And he says, look, I don't know exactly what you're going to do, what's going on with this. I kind of get it. But like, he's like, he's got like a heavy accent. He's like, you're a Hollywood shaman. And I was like, huh? He's like, a Hollywood shaman. I said, oh, what do you mean? He was like, the people are sick, and, you're a witch, and not in that, like, in that way, he's like, no, you're a bruja, you're a witch in that way, and you know things, and you have the sight. And he was like, the people are sick, and they're going to really need you as the world kind of changes. And he says, they're really going to be able to listen to you more because of the way you look. Like, you look Hollywood, you have this look, so it's like you can fit into that. He was like, but you're saying this like real shit, and I've watched the way that you work with the clients and people down here, so it's like that's what I see. And so it took me many years to be able to get back to that space of just like, okay, yeah, actually. And again, like, I didn't get into the psychic work until semi recently. I've always had this gift. I've been journaling since like 2009, but like, it didn't kind of hit me where it's just like, oh shit, I can see or hear these things, or I'm talking to people way differently, to my friends and family and close ones. And so, my sister-in-law always calling me the family shaman. So everything now, I would say in the past like 2 years, even in the past year, even in the past 6 months, is really like, I would say September really just was like, okay, shit, all right, it's up. Like, I'm fully forming into this person. Really, I not like a final form. I don't believe like in final forms per se, but I kind of like quoting like anime or like Dragon Ball Z, where you go into these like different forms. But like, I'm in this form now where it's like, I'm done really pivoting, and it's now time to really like rest in this. And like, ironically, since around that time, like, this is the most single that I've been my entire adult life. Like, just nothing, like, no projects, no boyfriends, no unrequited this, no that. Like, I am fucking dry. I've never been like dry like this, like, in my entire adult life. And I think that's because of just where I'm at, and just really, and it won't be long, you see all this Libra going on here. So it's like, I'm not trying to say like this is gonna be forever, but like, right now I feel like I really need all of, particularly like resting in this psychic energy. Like I said, I'm just starting to do the psychic work professionally since September of last year. Now I've done almost 400 readings. So it's just like, whoa, I'm getting into this. Oh shit. Okay. Really resting in the, coaching and consulting work, and then integrating like the artistic DJ stuff. Like, once this is like really gelled, I'm good. Like, this is it. I don't really see myself, because pivoting takes a lot of work, and I've pivoted a few times, and that takes time to kind of get back into the shit. And like, I'm tired. Like, I ain't doing no more of this. Like, I feel like this is it for me. So yeah, I'm excited and interested on what you feel like the chart is saying, if it's aligning with anything I'm fucking saying.
Of course. I mean, just think about it. Like, in your chart, yeah, from the beginning, I felt, I'll try to explain. So you can see that your Mercury is exactly conjunct Pluto in the 7th house, right? They're both at 24 degrees, 22 minutes. So they're only 3 minutes apart. Okay. So Pluto, being the underworld, is also the psyche, right? The psyche of everyone. Or maybe you can say the astral, or the, where all information comes from. And so this Mercury Pluto for me is kind of the core of what you're talking about, the psychic work. Also being clairaudient, right? Because it's in an air sign. And so like hearing things, sound. It's the same thing with you being a musician. And DJing, it's like all of this stuff that you have in air signs, right? So learning how to move air, learning how to bend air, learning how different sounds work together, learning how to make harmony, learning how to make something that's really gorgeous, right? And you do the same with people because it's all in the seventh house. So this makes me think about this coaching work that you're doing. And what's important to notice, by the way, is, and I'm sure you've heard that there's the fixed stars. And one of them, which is called Spica, is the most fortunate star in the sky. And I just want to show you where it is. You can see Spica is right up in the mix, right? Spica is conjunct your Jupiter, your Pluto, your Mercury, your Sun. Okay, so Spica is when people are able to reach really high levels of competence. For example, Zoran Mamdani has his Sun conjunct Spica. Charlie Kirk had his Sun and Jupiter conjunct Spica, right? So this part that Spica is together with all of them makes me think about you working with really high-powered people. You know, other people who are in positions of power, authority, or fame. Yeah, because that's the people you work with. You work with the Spican people. And that's actually corroborated by another part of your chart, because, you know, Mars is your chart ruler, right? Because you're an Aries rising. Now, there's another star, and we call that star Regulus. And Regulus is the star of the kings, right? It's the most noble star in the sky. So you can see your chart ruler is conjunct Regulus. So now we have both sides of your charts telling us, you know, about this work with people of notable position. Does it all make sense what I'm showing you so far?
Yes, I never knew anything about Spica and Regulus. Like this part, I'm like, wait, what? Who is that? I've never. This is now getting a little like deeper. Yeah. So all I knew was like, okay, Cancer, Moon, Aries rising, a shit ton of Libra, all packed up in like one like pile, the way that you can kind of see it. But that's pretty much the extent. So yeah, the Spica and Regulus, like this is interesting to me for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you said that you're getting settled now.
Yeah. Like it's right now, I'm just continuing to kind of calibrate and just really set up the same way I would kind of say with my clients. Like I like to call it like a minimum viable protocol, just like a baseline operating system on like what works for me on like a regular basis, the things that I need. And again, that's why I think that I'm in this like super single phase, because like I need to set this up to be able to then have someone in my life. But I can't be distracted while this is setting up, otherwise it's not going to work. Like psychic energy and sexual energy, like I can't even imagine if I was in a relationship and like there was something that was happening that was probably the most, I would say the most metaphysical connection in this lifetime that I feel like I encountered, and it just did not work out. And it seemed like it could have. And our birthdays are a day apart, which was also very interesting. And then at the same time, a professional connection came in, and then his birthday was a day apart from mine too. So it was like a sandwich. It was a sandwich. So it was like this work husband and then this like kind of connection that felt really strong. He's like, oh my God, I feel like we're the same person. And I'm just like, yeah, this is pretty wild. But I think it was too much. He didn't have the capacity to be able to, you know, grow it. And so there's no malice or just like anything. It just was more like, okay, wow. All right, birthday almost twin. And then the other one was more of a professional connection, but he was married. But then like he was like very like, you know, if I wasn't married, like he was really trying to like toe the line. But it was almost like, what the fuck is going on that like this one here, I'm in this like birthday sandwich, like what? And obviously I know now more than ever that like, you know, there's big differences in if you are born on the same day and 15 minutes apart, but it's still kind of wild where it's just like, okay, you're October here, you're October, like, wait, what? Okay, you know?
Yeah, for me, that triangulation again is that you have all those planets in Libra in the seventh, right? So being sandwiched, being in between people, having to manage different relationships and complex, very complex connections also, right? Because of the Mercury-Pluto exact conjunction. Okay, let's spotlight that for a bit. Right, think about that. Pluto being the underworld, conjunct Mercury. And you're talking with people at that level all the time. You're doing psychic work, right? You're going into the underworld with them constantly. But that's
Yeah.
also in like having that metaphysical connection that is so intense and so powerful. Yeah, I just see that all right there. Does that make sense to you when you see it that way?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was,
Okay.
it was, it was, it was quite a bit. It was very, very metaphysical. Like it was
Hmm.
quite a bit.
I have a question about these. So you said that you've done 400 readings in the past since September. Did I understand correctly?
Yeah.
How did you get so many people so quickly?
Oh, because the friend that I mentioned before we started recording, like I said, she is pretty deep into astrology. And like I said, she's a psychic and a medium as well. And so she was able to fast track me on a platform that allows
Mm.
me to, yeah. So I'm on the app and that just, it's not turned on right now, but it'll be turned on. So as long as I'm not doing other things in the moment, then the app is on if I'm like at home or just kind of around. And then like it'll be anywhere between a 10-minute or sometimes 30-minute reading. Sometimes I'm on with people for 90 minutes. It really depends on the connection. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's all between the app. I was like, I've had a couple of readings outside of that, but because I can't publicly kind of present myself in that way, because then it gets too woo-woo and it dilutes my professional standing. Like a lot of people can't even take what we're talking about right now. It's just completely over their heads. And so unfortunately I can't really get too woo-woo with it, like, oh my God, I'm a psychic too. And it's just like, okay, wait a minute, you're looking at blood work and you're a fucking psychic. Like, okay, so that's why it's like I'm able to kind of say like, okay, intuitive wellness, and I can use intuitive to kind of be that kind of code word for people to know that, we'll lean into that a little bit. And as I become more established in this position, I'll be able to be more out there with it. But right now, like I've got to get my sea legs and I've got to get a little bit more, it's I got to get my referral system and everything a little bit more established before I can really kind of like start pushing the crystal ball out there. So everything, I'd say 95%. Yeah, 95% of everything involves on the app. And then like, people, word of mouth that I'll like know, like the guy who gives me a lot of my psilocybin, he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you all the psilocybin. Cause once I started doing this work, I'm like, shit, I need like a tune-up. So I did like an insane hero dose and then like ended up like thinking about all my friends that have sister issues. I don't have a sister. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking about this psychic friend I'm talking about and about her relationship with her sister. And then all of a sudden I hear a name in relation to her. And then the next day I'm like, hey, who's this? And she's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, who is it? She's like, it's my grandmother. That's the person who was really always about pushing me with the gift. And then that's when I really started. I didn't realize like the clairaudience until maybe about 2 months ago, because again, I needed the repetition to be able to identify like, okay, shit, I keep hearing these things. The dreams have always, I've been getting the prophetic dreams, I mean, for as long as I can remember. But like that's more of the clairvoyance, and then the clairsentience, okay, fine. But now with these readings, I'm hearing like, Steve. And then I asked the woman, I'm like, who is Steve? She's like, that's the name of my dog. My dog just like walked up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm hearing the names. I'm hearing every once in a while, like I said, 10-15%, I'll hear. So again, I feel like the app has given me an opportunity to just get reps to really kind of see the patterns and kind of understand exactly my gift and kind of what to do with it and how it works, so that I could better integrate it into the bigger picture, and then get ready when I have the opportunity to be able to, you know, be more like public about it. And I would say, like, as my ex said, kind of even lean more into the kind of Hollywood shaman kind of concept of it all. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like the deeper I get into it, the more I'll lean more into the into the clairs in general. But that's gonna, you know, that's just gotta move with time.
Okay. So again, that this is all happening in your seventh house, right? And that you're talking to people and you get messages for them from people that they're related to, someone that's close to them, right? So you're kind of the medium, you're in between. Again, you're sandwiched, sort of.
Yeah, so the medium thing, I will say, like, when I got into this, one of the things I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to do that medium shit. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not really going there. So what has ended up happening, and my friend had said this to me, she was just like, look, it's coming, because it came through her grandmother. That's who that was. And then in November, it came through one of my best friend's younger brothers, who like suddenly, like tragically, like died. And within 24 hours, there was a channeled message through me DJing through a song.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, it was a particular song. It was a remix of an old Nina Simone song. I'm literally sitting in New York and I'm mixing this song. And then, like, I record it with my phone, and something tells me to post this on my Instagram story and tag her. But then she hasn't posted anything because her brother just died like 36 hours ago. And I'm like, this seems kind of tacky. But then I hesitated for about an hour. And then all of a sudden, I said, nah, I got to do this. Post it. And I posted, I tagged her. And then it almost broke the seal. And then that's when she reposted it and then started to kind of let people know, like, oh my God, my brother died. So the next day I'm talking to her and I'm like, girl, I didn't really want to do that. I felt like that was a little tacky and weird. She was just like, yeah. She's like, no, it was fine. She was like, I was just telling my mother, like, you know, Lynnette always has this ability to be able to do and say the right thing at the right time. And like that song, you know, she was like, no, that was perfect. You know, you remember he sampled that song. I said, what? She said, no, he sampled that song, like, I don't know, like maybe 8 years ago. And the song is Nina Simone. It's in the lyrics are like, don't worry, little darling, it's all right, it's all right. And that was the message that I was just trying to send to her. Come to find out, I look at her stories and then she posts that song. I'm like, where did you get this song from? Why are you doing this? She was like, isn't that why you sent that to me? I was like, no, I just kind of heard this feeling to send this remix to this song. And she says, and she knows about my abilities. And she's like, oh shit, Isaac is fucking around already. And I said, oh my God. So I told my psychic friend this and I said, like, I'm not trying to do this medium stuff. I'm cool with this. Like, I don't really want to play over there. She was like, cool, but it's obviously coming to you. So just get in a position to where you're able to move through it. I'm not saying you need to go over there and start scratching on the Ouija board per se. She was like, but obviously this is coming to you and it's a safe space for these people to kind of come and tap in with you, because you didn't know my grandmother's name. Like, you didn't know anything about that, you know? And this girl's brother, like, I didn't call on that. I was just sad. So
This is all recent for you, right?
this is the thing with the grandmother was in September, and then the brother was November 22nd.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
5 months ago.
Yeah, what stands out to me the most about all of that is just that the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is just happening right now. I'm going to take out some stuff just to make it easier to see. Right, it's right on your ascendant. And this makes me think about you starting a very totally new direction in life, like a very like really something that's going to last you for the many next years. So it's a big journey, big chapter opening.
When did this just happen? When did this happen?
Well, we're in the middle of that conjunction still, but it's been going on since 2025, essentially.
Oh,
Especially in like August, September, October. Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. Like, yeah. My first reading, I think, was August 30th.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
And I kept saying to her, like, it was interesting because we talked about this in January of 2024, and I do a lot of writing. And so I found a document that I'd written in January 2024, basically saying, like, look, I'm about to get into this. And then she mentioned to me, like, oh, maybe we'll talk about you on an app. And then she left it alone. This was January 2024. And then in July of 2025, she kind of circled back with it because she saw all of this like really extra stuff that was going on with this guy connection, and then how I was kind of helping her with the guy connection. And she's like, no, you have more than you think. I'm like, girl, I'm not no psychic like that. I'm like, I know I'd be knowing shit, but like, she was like, no, I really do believe that you can do it. And also, partly because of what happened with this connection, March of last year, February of last year, I had a very strong dream. And the thing is, for the past 15 years, I've smoked a lot of cannabis. Like, I'll take breaks if something really tragic or catastrophic happens so I can clear myself. But generally speaking, like, I don't smoke a ton of weed, but like it's a regular thing, like every other day. I'm in that state. And so that cuts the dream state. But because of the way my site is, when it's a really strong dream, it doesn't fucking matter. It cuts through. And so this dream cut through with me in this connection in February of last year. And I'm like, uh-oh. I say, you know what? I think I'm gonna stop smoking weed for a minute. And so I stopped about a month later, and then all the dreams come back. So I can like lay down right now for 20 minutes and I'm in REM and it's a fucking show, right? And so that started to happen. And I actually haven't smoked since. Like, it's been 411 days or something since. And I'm not against it, and I'll probably get back to it. But I wanted to see basically what a year looked like. So what ended up happening was that the friend in July said, she was like, I don't know. It's something about you and your gift that made me feel like that you smoking weed, even though I've got reader friends that will smoke all day and do great reading. She was like, I don't know, it was something about you that made me feel like you weren't ready or couldn't really lock in with this if you were smoking weed. So all of a sudden you haven't been smoking weed for the past 6-7 months. Like, oh, okay, you know what? That was kind of one of her reservations. And so now she's like, no, let's do it. Let's onboard you. Let's get to it. And so that's one of the reasons why I haven't been smoking, because it was like, let me sit with this signal and see what that looks like without having any type of outside thing. So the only thing has been, a big, almost 10 grams of psilocybin. And I was pretty much in visual stasis the whole time. And basically I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to basically do a system upgrade because of the work this happened in September, because I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna need a system upgrade. I don't even know what the fuck this is going on, this psychic stuff. Let me get to it. Let me get to it. So that's kind of what that was about during that time. So yeah, I would say, I don't know, probably in the next couple of weeks, I've got a different relationship to the plant. And so now it's like no dispensary weed. Like my, family members, like someone like grows, I'm like, I'll probably like, have something from their plant because it's theirs and it's this thing, but it's going to be with so much more intention and so much more on more of a ceremonial and a very like occasional thing to be able to use that now as a tool, now that I've been able to identify more of how this gift that's always been there, now that it's like the muscle is like working, like, the 400, it's like the gym, it's like reps, like really, knowing how it works. And so now to kind of see what that looks like being able to use essentially cannabis is a sacrament, and we've just in 2026 abused the fuck out of it. We, for the medicinal aspects, yes, if you have Parkinson's, of course, you should definitely be, but just like, oh, I'm just going to smoke weed and look at TV. No, I'm not, that's not, I'm off that. So yeah, we're going to see what happens. It's interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so
I know it's a lot.
in July is when Saturn was on your ascendant. And then in September, he went back into Pisces.
Oh,
and that makes me think about you taking the psilocybin and kind of like having a system upgrade, because that was going to be the last couple months that Saturn spends in Pisces before he goes into Aries, right? Once he goes into Aries and he's on your ascendant, here's where I see you being like disciplined with yourself at a whole new level. Like now you're at work and you're ready to settle down and you're ready to like charge forward and do this thing and go all in and just like actually do it. Right. So I feel how this has become like very strong sense for you all of a sudden.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you something else that happened. So within all of the wellness stuff and the work that I was doing, I was a chef by trade. So a lot of the work I was doing when the startup was being weird was just like chefing work. And then what ended up happening was that literally when it almost within the same week that I started doing the psychic work, the chefing clients started dropping like fucking flies. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, wait a minute. But then the psychic work, like, I mean, the first month was almost 100 readings. So like the bulk of it was really in the beginning. And so all of a sudden, the income that was from the chefing aspect of my career was all of a sudden coming from the psychic stuff. And at the same time, all of September, I was building the coaching website. I was building that, like I said, okay, you know what, it's time. And I've been fucking around with it all like year, like, well, I don't know, because I was just so caught up with chefing and caught up with everything else. And then that dropped like flies. So basically at the same time, all that dropped, moved into the psychic work. And for September, I just locked in on psychic work and, some consulting here and there. And then just started building this like website at night. Just building everything, just locking it, just everything was coming to. It was almost like I was on Adderall. And it's like, believe me, I know about Adderall. And it was like, I didn't even need Adderall. I was just like going, and really starting to build this positioning with this, with it. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay. Yeah, September, the sun was obviously transiting Virgo all of September nearly, right? So your 6th house. And Virgo, of course, is ruled by Mercury. So that makes me think about you doing all the psychic work during that period, also building the website, right? Which is the 6th house, like every single day working on building that. Also, it's kind of hard to explain, right? But because the sun that entire month was opposing Saturn. So that makes me think you're gearing up and you're getting ready for when Saturn enters the 1st house. And this was kind of like the moment of culmination realization. Okay, so you got a lot of experience and you did a lot of psychic. The other thing is like, even if you think about the way that you got all those clients, because you said that you had a friend who helped you get clients on that app quickly, right? Did I understand correctly?
No, she didn't help me get the clients. Like because she's a senior reader on this app, I was able to bypass all of the vetting. She vetted it for me. So basically, like, she sent my information to the C-suite and was like, okay, Lynnette's good. Lynnette's good. It was no vetting. I had one meeting with the woman, then signed the paperwork. And then that was it. Like, nobody was like, oh, Lynnette. Literally, it was just like, talk with this woman for about 20 minutes. She was like, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, very cool. I like, a vibe check. Sign the paperwork, put up the photo, put up the description, and then all of a sudden, it just started going.
Yeah. There I feel the Jupiter very much in your 7th house Libra. That there is a friend who helped you bypass pretty quickly, like having people in positions of power, right? People who can help you connect to other people that you would like to get with. Maybe that would be a pretty common experience for you, actually.
Okay.
being blessed by the various. I'm actually reminded of the other guy that you've been saying. I forget who he was, but he gave you very good. He kind of gave you like a destiny, like he was
Oh,
reading.
that's my ex. He's the most profound, most significant ex. Yeah, between him and the connection I was telling you that like was never fully like realized, like those are probably the top like three profound connections with people. No, it's definitely like life-changing with him. He helped me to just really grow into he's a bit older, so it's almost like he finished raising me in a way.
Interesting.
Because it's like our first loves are, a version of our parents. And so you get that type of like thing. So whatever my father didn't kind of, tap me in with, like he finished the job. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Okay, so okay. Yeah, it just makes me think again about the stellium in your seventh house. In this
Yeah.
case with Saturn there. Right. So
Okay.
these super important, mega significant relationships in your life that changed a lot. And again, I just want to bring your attention to just the Mercury Pluto, right? Because they're exactly conjunct. And so the psychic work.
That's what that means. The Mercury Pluto, and specifically is
Well, yeah,
uh,
think about it again. Pluto is the underworld, right? And so being able to pull things from nowhere, like just from the fabric of life, from dead people, right? For people with important messages, people from the other side, just having these abilities, right? Because Mercury is the way that your mind is processing information, also the things that you read about, things that you talk about, and your voice, right? The music that you produce, right? So the conjunction with Pluto, right? Talking with people at a very, very, very deep level, being able to see them, being able to understand them, being able to work with them with their psyche very deeply.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of that. And I'd say a lot of my relationships I recently did a chart actually, because like I said, I've been super single and I wrote down like all the guys, all the things, all the guys. And this spreadsheet was to the point where it was just like what their birth order was, what they did for a living, when did we meet, how did we meet, what went wrong, what went right, why it should
Okay.
never happen again. And what I found out, what came up, one of the things was very interesting. I would say I couldn't remember and know all the birthdays or anything like that, but an overwhelming majority of them, and in specifically the most profound ones, a large percentage were Libras.
Okay, interesting.
Like a shit ton of Libra, to the point where two of them had the same
Uh,
birthday. Two of them were October 21st. Then
okay.
my first boyfriend was October 22nd. And then the guy I was telling you about before is the 17th. And then the other one is the 19th. And then like the profound relationship that I was saying, his father died on the 18th, a year before we met. He says that was my best friend. And like we're still pretty close now, like best friends. I'm like, I guess I'm your best friend now, huh? But
Right, your sun, your chart is very focused on this Mercury Pluto situation because the sun is there, right? So if you think about like in the year, the sun moves 1 degree per day. So the sun could be anywhere like in the chart, right? On the day you were born, the sun is conjunct Mercury and Pluto exact, right? So that means your whole life essentially is happening here now, or much of it. Does that make sense to you?
so the sun, okay, yeah, 365 days a year or whatever. It could be any place, and literally on the 18th, it's in the same house where everything else is. It could have been
Exactly.
all of that could have been there in the seventh house, and then my son could have been in the 11th house.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
So was it it's like a lot of stuff going on in the I don't understand what the seventh house is exactly, I guess. Seven was
Ah,
it. I
it's
don't know
your
what that means.
relationships to other people, but not just your parents or your partners, but also like your clients, for example, or maybe your friends. So when you interact with other people and somehow there's situations happening with them, right? With your friends, you go somewhere and you talk about this and they help you with that. That's the seventh house, kind of when you're cooperating with people.
Got it. Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. And it's all, everything is packed in this seventh house.
Exactly.
Like,
But not only cooperating, but also like working with them, like in tandem, for example, like in a business partnership. Yeah, or just in conversation. So just being around people like constantly, actually, right?
which is very interesting because, like, I mean, I definitely cherish like alone time, for sure. But yeah, I guess you would say like I'm. My brother says I have a lot of friends. I'm like, no, you don't know the difference between acquaintances and friends. I just know a lot of people.
Exactly, right? You know a lot of people.
I know a lot because I feel like every 2 seconds someone is like dying. Basically, the majority of my soulmates have died. Like,
Ah.
so my best friend from grammar school, and that's really when I started to get deep into the occult. We were working with like telepathy, fire ceremonies. This was like 5th grade. She died last year. And then a soulmate that would be one of the significant men in my life, he died in 2022, and he died on the birthday of my youngest niece. And that's another one. And then another soulmate from high school, which was the biggest kind of lesson about like love and everything. That's the one who had the birthday on October 21st. He died. And then my best friend from college, she overdosed during COVID. So basically, grammar school, and then grammar school, high school, college, the girl soulmates and the guy soulmates are all dead, with the exception of the girl soulmate from high school. But she had a very serious stroke 2 years ago and is here, but she's different because strokes will do that. So everyone pretty much is gone, except her. The guys are gone, the girls are gone. So yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, really?
Okay, and it's interesting that you bring up they're all from kind of your schooling years, because that's Mercury, right? Mercury is going to school, being with your peers, reading, doing homework, submitting assignments, taking the exams, reading the textbook, right? It's all kind of Mercury. Yeah, grammar school.
Yeah,
And
5th grade, high school, and college.
right, and even and again, exactly conjunct Pluto, underworld, death. Right. So all of these people, right? 7th house again, the people that were your soulmates, the people that left the biggest imprint on you are dead. Right. So I guess you also would only talk to them, but at this point, telepathically. Right. So even that, go ahead.
They do their thing. Let's put it that way. They do their thing. They have reached out through the one medium friend. And then the one girlfriend from college, like, I'm pretty convinced she wants me to like buy her old place, because I was in New York and I got led to a yoga studio on the same floor right across the street, and I could look right into the apartment. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I could see that like everything was almost still in there. And I'm just like, what are you wanting me to do? Why are you taking me here? Why are you taking me here? Because she had popped up in December because I was at a show and this guy was singing about his dead girlfriend, and it ended up being the ex-boyfriend of her that I'd forgotten about because I hadn't seen them in so long. And then he goes, oh my God, he's bugging the fuck out, because he was like, I haven't been around anyone who was as close to her because I didn't know them. He was like, but I remember you. And so he bugged the fuck out. And I'm like, okay, that happened in December. And then I go back to New York in February, and now I'm standing at a yoga studio across the street at the same floor of her apartment. And then I start looking, I'm like, what are you doing? What do you want? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? And I think that it's just something, it's again, because of these gifts and stuff, something is just telling me, it's just like, no, she wants me to buy this place. And I'm like, girl, all right, well, you better spend some more pennies from heaven, because New York real estate's fucking crazy. Okay, girl, like, okay, like seriously, like, all right, I'm gonna need a little bit of backup on this. I was like, but again, all of these things kind of, they lead. Even when the girl died last year, like I was so distraught, and then at that night I went to a party where I just wanted to clear my mind, and an acquaintance says, hey, do you want to go to church with me tomorrow? And I was like, I'm like, girl, I grew up going to Catholic school. I'm like, I will, fine, cool. And then she airdrops me the address, and the church is the same name of the girl who died.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, all right, cool. All right, this is what we're doing. Like I've synchronicity is my lifeblood. So it's like I've been running off of the gift of the synchronicity for most of my life. That's what kind of
right.
that's what kind of isn't the wind in the sails. That's never been up for debate. I would say synchronicity has been the biggest thing. So when I see that, that lets me know I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing with the right people. God is in the room, and that's what it is. So it's like when I saw that, I was like, oh, Saint Sophia. I'm like, okay, what time? I'll be there. Like, okay, cool. Like I look up like, all right, girl, I'm coming. That's what we're doing. You know what I mean? So when I'm seeing these things happen, I don't get freaked out. I'm like, all right, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like I'm not interested so much in being a medium, but when these signs and these things come, then I'm like, all right, cool. What do you want? What are we doing? What's happening?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you're in constant contact with the firmament. That is how I right. So there's again Mercury, Pluto, and Jupiter, especially because Jupiter is synchronicity, right? Jupiter is like holy, and Jupiter is like, wow, like this is amazing. That kind of feeling. And especially when there's spirit-led things and you're in contact with higher powers, that is not like seeing the world in a mundane way, right? That's Jupiter. So there I feel that, I mean, this is so, yeah. Everything that you're describing is for me about these three in the first place, and with the sun being there.
The sun, the Jupiter, Pluto,
And Mercury.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. All the media, all the relationships. I mean, because I talked to different people, and one impression I had just now is you were talking about the ex and his friend, and then their friend, and I was like, whoa. Right. So that again makes me think of the Libra stellium, like all these people, all these connections that are involved in your stories.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of things. I do know quite a lot of people, and I do, and a lot of people know me, but at the same time, the inner circle is quite tight. Just of who is in it, and I'd say half of that circle rotates based on whatever professional relationships I'm having at the time. So, I cycle through a lot of different. I was working with a doctor pretty heavy the past 2 years. We still work together a little bit, but we'll be close. But like I said, half of my relationships that are close are based on whatever projects and contracts that I have at the time. So it's like, okay, look, I'm working with this doctor. Me and her, we're super tight because I'm in the clinic. We're doing this, we're doing that, boom, boom, boom. Okay, now we'll still be cool. But then another type of business partner, I like to call them work husbands or work wives, they might come into the mix. So the work husband I had that had a similar birthday, the birthday before mine, we were working together, we were getting money, we were doing things. And so that became a little bit too heavy for him because of his attraction to me. So he's out the mix. Now it'll be someone else. So yeah, I would, because I'm so tied to my work, it's like half of my close inter circle friendships are based on whatever work stuff is going on.
Okay, so here we have another part of your chart coming through pretty clearly, and that's your Cancer moon in the 4th squaring your Saturn in Libra in the 7th. So the people that are close to you, like your inner circle, that's the moon, and it's also the 4th house, because that's kind of the intimate connections. So that's like your spouse, your kids, your family, and your closest friends, it's the people you feel very comfortable around. And in your case, the moon is squaring Saturn pretty closely in the 7th house Libra, right? And Saturn is more like those contractual relationships where you have to be very put together and professional, and it's not like just comfortable and sweet, Saturn is more like, let's get work done. We're serious now. We have to do this. And so that you constantly have these very close relationships depending on your working projects at the time. Is that connection here? Does that
Yeah,
make sense
yeah.
to you?
It does, because the profound older ex, I was helping him run his business.
Okay. You see? Okay, so you mix like family and love and closeness with business.
In a way, so I was helping him to run his business, and the reason why like we separated was because I was like, okay, I need to go do this startup and kind of do my thing, and I can't do your thing and my thing at the same time. I need to go back to the States. I love you. Okay, peace. And then my boyfriend in college that I was with for most of college, I wasn't a business partner with him, but like I kind of was helping him a little bit with his business, just with strategy and things. And then I had a short relationship a couple of years ago with a guy who I've been involved with a lot of musicians, a lot of musicians. And so I was involved with him, and I was kind of helping him do some stuff with like studio stuff and some things like with the wellness and food and just stuff like that. So we were kind of like romantic, but then that's kind of how we met, more on a professional thing. And then it turned into
Mhm.
something else. And for me, I don't, I've learned from that profound relationship, the Mexico one, that I don't ever want to be a actual business partner with my significant other again. But I realized due to my pattern that I need to be excited. I need to have an understanding. I need to be I need to be very interested and borderline passionate about whatever you do for a living, because a part of my love language is that strategy, is that understanding. And a part of why you're going to fuck with me is because I'm going to give you some information and support professionally. I just don't want to be your bit. That's part of why that relationship got killed, because the pillow talk became like, okay, well, did you do the paperwork for this? Right. So
Yes.
yeah. So I don't want to
Do
be
you
that
see
tapped
it?
in.
Do you see that square now? Pillow talk, Moon in Cancer in the fourth house, right? You're in bed and cuddling, squaring Saturn and Libra in the seventh. Did you get the paperwork done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Does that make
It,
sense?
yeah, it was that. And I said, ooh, that's a little bit too close for comfort. But like I said, at the same time, I've got to be locked in with what they are doing. I just don't want to be responsible for it anymore and contractually or professionally obligated to do it. So it's like, at the same time, like if I was, involved with an athlete, and I'm trying to think of a sport I really like, maybe, soccer, and or maybe like NBA or maybe like tennis. Like I know that because I've played that. So I'm like, oh, well, such and so and so and so, so and so. Or if it's like, a musician where I can totally lock in. I'm like, yeah, no, change the chords on that or do that. Or, well, what about this? But I don't want to have to be obligated to do it. But that's a part of who I am in love language. Like, oh, you know what? That contract's kind of fucked up. Like, well, why don't you work on the marketing like this? Oh, the photo is going to be
Yes.
this way. Like, I gotta be that lover, business partner type of thing in it, but never again that deep, because that kills the other part of the romance and the love. And I learned that lesson before.
So
So no, hell
interesting.
no, hell no. And I've
Well,
had like, yeah.
but I'm thinking we'll see about that, right? Because now you're single, maybe it's going to be different, but that aspect stays in your chart. So it's going to express in some way with any partner that you have.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, like some like people are just like, can I help you write this song, please?
Yes. See, and even that part, like, look at all the
Yes.
air in your seventh house. You know what? And again, all of your stories, Lynette, are involving other people. That you're helping other people strategize, or you're helping other people understand that, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not wild about being involved with another musician, but I mean that's not really. But I can't, I attract who I attract, but like that's definitely, I don't know about that.
Hmm.
it is what it is. Again, I know what I'm passionate about and what I'm interested in, and so the wellness aspects, the fitness aspects, so sports and music and art. I did go to art school, so it's like I get that and the music aspects of it, but I don't particularly see myself with a Wall Street finance person, because like ugh, they would have to moonlight as, I don't know, a freaking drummer or something like that, or something very artistic to be able to balance it out. Because like, again, I can't show up. I can't show up really talking about like finance. That's not really like my
I totally get it.
thing.
It's like when you get with those people, because with artists, you guys are always creative together. So there's a process of constant harmonization.
Yeah,
Right. There I feel the Libra, right? Where one person is doing one thing, and maybe you should do it like this, maybe we should do it like that. Right. So there's a lot of agreement and consent involved in artistic practice when you're doing it in partnership.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this again, I see like how much, right? Because you said, and helping out people strategizing, and you're showing them how to put things together.
Yeah, my love language is definitely strategy, and yeah, it's definitely big on strategy. Like I had an ex where he had a big meeting like out of town, and I remember he texted me, and it was with like Gary V, which is this big like,
oh yeah, I know Gary. Okay.
Yeah, Gary V. So he had a meeting with Gary V, and he's just like, damn, he's like, I wish you were there, because he knows the way that my brain works.
Yeah.
And he knows the shit. He's like, I just wanted you there, like in the room, like, okay. Like he sent me the paperwork and just everything, what he was going to present and stuff. And I was just like, I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay. Because again, I did this list of all of these exes, and I found, that the majority of the profound ones, and a lot of them, they're all very visionaries and leaders in their field. Like they've,
again, see, so I'm again reminding you of the Spica and the Regulus connections. The people you end up connecting with are not like, let's say, normal. Even that's not really the right. They're high in their field.
Yeah, they're goats. They're goats. Like some of them, have a few of them have like Grammys. A few of them.
Okay. So do you see, so Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, Spica, Pluto, and you're talking with people that have Grammys. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Like the Spica thing, I think, is like a really big takeaway from this, because, and then you said like the other thing as far as like the rulers, and like most of these men are kings of their industry. Like even even the profound ex in Mexico, like his business is pretty much one of the top businesses in the region. Like he's like the top, like the top. Like of his thing. Like it's like he's the man with that. So again, they're mostly kings of their industry. They're mostly like goats. They're mostly, revolutionizing whatever corner of industry that they're in, and visionaries. And so for me, when it comes to relationships, like I do myself an injustice if and no shade to anybody, but I do myself an injustice if I can't utilize my gifts at that level with someone that like I gotta be with a boss. I gotta be with somebody who's really like working a lot of things, because otherwise my gifts are not best utilized. My strategy, my leadership, my brain of doing things is not best. It's not best utilized. Like it's just, I've kind of seen it already. And like I said, I've seen the pattern, and that's why the things that hasn't really worked out, it hasn't worked out because those men did not embody a level of leadership and a level of just profound output. It's like I can't really, like, don't waste your time with me, because I'm not even, I don't even have enough going on. And these could also be pretty successful guys. Like, I mean, it was a guy that was like signed to one of the biggest like entertainment agencies in the world, and he still he was like the bottom rung of it. It's like, you're like a successful bum. It still wasn't enough. It's like it really has to be like, you really gotta have it together and have a vision and really have stuff going on. Otherwise, like, you're gonna get intimidated by me. That's one thing. A lot of them, it's just like, wait a second, you got way more money than I do. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you intimidated by me? Because of what it is that I have inside. Like I could have negative $1,000 in my bank account, but the things that's coming out and emanating of me for the mortal man, so to speak, these motherfuckers be shook. And I'm just like, damn, but really? Like, I thought you were like, holy crap, you're like the man. No, not enough. Not enough. Not enough. So that has been a big lesson that I've had to learn and really look at and separate a man's success by actually like their inner wiring. Because I'm thinking like, oh my God, you're successful, you're this, you're that. Like, okay, we'll be fine. No. No. Again, back to that inner wiring. If that inner wiring is not right, like you could literally be a broke millionaire inside and just not even be able to, you know, deal with little old me. And it's just like, damn, you know, like, you know, at one point for a second, I was like, damn, am I like a broken toy? And it's just like, no, it's actually the opposite. Like, no, I really have a lot of gifts and I have a lot of alignment and things. And so, you know, that list that I tell you about, it wasn't really the longest list because, you know, you can attract people, right? It's just like you can, people's like, oh, you can have any man that you want. No, I can fuck any man that I want, but to have them and to them to have me and to hold and be with me, that's two different things. For them to actually exist and coexist and be able to pour into me and vice versa. Me going out on a date, okay, I can go outside right now. I can step outside of my balcony and be like, hey, come here. That's easy. That's attraction. But actually them having that ability to be able to pour in, or that ability and that self-worth to be like, you know what, I have stuff to bring to the table to this girl and vice versa, and we can both utilize each other. That's not really going to come very easy. And a lot of them will come and think that they can do it or think that it's not that important. And then when they get in deep, they're like, oh shit, no, I actually am not equipped for this connection. And so, you know how they say like it's lonely at the top in a way, but it's like it can be a little isolating, and it's becoming more isolating in a way because of the alignment and just where things have been happening for the past year. So it's like now my level of discernment is even more precise, and like that ain't everybody. So it's just like I gotta really be, yeah, I know a lot of people, but I gotta be really settled with myself, because people are like, oh my God, you can have like a roster of men. No, I can't. Like, no, like the bandwidth, like, because I go deep. It can't be no shallow ass shit. That's not the way that this works with me. So it's like, it's an interesting road that I'm on right now. I'm glad I'm cosplaying as a 29-year-old, because I've bought myself and been in this longevity personally for the past 20 years, because it's bought me a little bit more biological time to do things, you know? So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like marriage, and you know, obviously my ideas of marriage are a little bit different. And like, because I've been working with my wellness as a personal pursuit since literally for the past like 21 years, like, yeah, my biological age is much younger. Like, you know, there's still a bit more time for me to have a child. I know that. Like, I'm not one of these like 40 somethings where I'm like, oh my God, it's over for me. Like, no, you think I've been sitting here doing all of this work for myself that I now do for people professionally, thinking like I didn't, like, that's part of the reason why I did it, because I knew that I wanted to raise myself more. My parents had me quite young. I wanted to raise myself more as an individual and then have a kid on the back end, God willing. Like, I didn't want to be like this like younger mother and just do it. Like, no, I wanted to kind of do my thing and then be able to do that on the back end. And my ideas about, you know, marriage and partnership, like, we'll figure that out. We'll do that thing, but I'm not this like quintessential person. So again, I'm really curious now that I'm creating this baseline for myself, what's coming into play for me when it comes to, for all intents and purposes, for lack of better description, the marriage or partnership, you know, and co-parenting, you know, with someone. I always knew I wanted one kid. I'm like, one and done, hopefully a son. And my brother has like 3 freaking daughters. So he's praying that I have a son so he can have a nephew. But yeah, like what that looks like, for me, in the next like couple of years, like moving into that. Like I'm a Libra. If there's anything that I've known about my chart before I was able to get more details on it, is that partnership is really big for me. I thrive in relationships. I love it. I really do. And as much decentering of men that I've done, I love men. I love it. I'm excited about who's coming because I'm so locked in with who I am that like, damn, I'm excited. I'm excited who's showing up because I'm in this different place and I really know who I am. And because of this psychic energy, and I've been able to really lock into that, like, yo, who, what? No, I'm a Libra. Like, I don't, not, that's why I haven't been single this entire, since I was fucking, when I started, when I was 16, and in October, I'll be 45. There's always been somebody, like, even if it wasn't like, oh, we're like serious boyfriend. Me and my, best friend, the one that had the stroke, she called it a project. It's always a project or a crush or unrequited, or no, we're in no contact right now. It's always something. And right now, it's nothing. Yeah, I could think about that birthday connection, the cosmic one from last year, but it's just like, I don't think he has the full capacity. Like, if anybody could make it off that list and back, and I don't really like spinning the block, maybe him, maybe, but like, I'm not even really banking on that because of the work that I'm doing. That could have really just been to help usher in my abilities. Like, I'm grateful of that cosmic connection because that pushed the dream state, that I cut the weed, that gave my friend the confidence to say like, yo, you're ready for this. Like, that might've been all of that. That might've been all of that I needed from him. So I don't expect more from anybody else from my past because of how much of this inner and outer work I've been doing. Like, I even feel like I look better. Like, it's a different glow to me. And it's not like, oh my God, I was like some, babushka, but it's like, there's a certain look, like I'm getting compliments and looks about things in a way, like people are saying, like, I get more compliments in the past like year of like, oh my God, you're so gorgeous. Men will be like, a man told my friend, it was like, I can't even like look at her for too long. Like, people say it's constant now. Something has up leveled in me in the past year visually. And it's like, I ain't really done it. I mean, maybe some peptides or something, but not really. Like, I've not really done anything different except this internal work. And so I'm wondering, I'm gonna drop the mic right now, but I'm wondering, what all that looks like. And yes, who I end up attracting. Cause it's like, yo, Libra. That's my
Well,
Libra
there's
shit.
a few things about okay, so again, I'm feeling the moon square Saturn from your 4th to your 7th, because I see that, for example, you decided that you're gonna have a family later on. Like, a child is not gonna be the first thing. First, you're gonna keep raising yourself because your parents didn't do it all the way. There comes also that older guy that was one of the most profound relationships in your life, who ended up raising you, kind of, right? So there I feel the moon in the 4th square Saturn. Also in the fact that to get someone to be very close to you, like a man, you have almost like a series of requirements at this point that you're not willing to negotiate on whatsoever. And so there I feel kind of how picky and choosy you are, really letting someone close to you, I guess, because you were burned in the past having to do a lot of work for them, right? That part of mixing feelings and work and stuff. And also just wanting someone who's like really serious, who's also worked on themselves, like, and you yourself putting it on yourself through your relationships and through all the challenges to really develop yourself. And like, notice if I put in Jupiter, like Jupiter has been in your 4th house in conjunct your moon for the past 8 or 9 months, right? So that makes me think about you going so deep into your inner work. And then like it's just changing everything and you're becoming a glowing person. So there I felt like the Jupiter to your moon very much. And then the last thing that I want to point out, it's very strong for me, is again your Mars conjunct Regulus. Because you're ruled by Mars. You're an ascendant. Sorry, there's a truck passing. You're an Aries rising, right? So immediately one of the subjects of Aries is men. And all the men that you have around you, whether that's brothers, uncles, fathers, grandfathers, partners, friends, right?
Oh
And
my
how the males
God.
act, okay?
It's all men. My mother only had brothers. The 2 sisters like died as like infants or some weird shit. My father all he grew up with was his brothers. He has some stepsisters, but those were estranged. Like I literally, all my cousins on my mom's side, the first cousins, all boys. My dad's side, all boys. And now my brother with these 3 girls, these are the first women of both bloodlines. Like I've been the only girl. I've been out here with these boys this entire freaking time. So that's, and the Aries rising is what, now that I understand that, like that kind of makes me understand a little bit more about just some of the masculine things and the way that I've kind of been with stuff. It's like I went to school for photo. Like that was a lot of technique. That's a very masculine thing in a way for just that. And even with the chefing, like, yeah, it's like it's more masculine as a chef, but if you're like at home cooking, then like you're a woman. And I feel like now that I'm leaning more into where I'm at now in the past year, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more into a level of like femininity in like a way, a little bit more of a softness, but I still definitely have this like masculine, like I've ran like marathons, like, and that's another reason why like a portion of men are just like, whoa. I was like, yeah, because like I'm
Right. So I want to point
realer
out
than
to you,
you.
in your secondary progressions, the progressed sun is conjunct your natal Venus, almost exact. It's going to be exactly conjunct in 2027, actually. That makes me think about you saying that you're leaning more into your femininity. That just stood out to me. And I immediately I felt that your sun had progressed onto Venus. Of course, that means many things, right? And the other thing that I really want to it's again about, right, so you're ruled by Mars. Mars is men, right, in general, how you experience them, and Mars is conjunct Regulus, the king star. So that makes me
Regulus,
think about your particular attitude towards men, that if they don't have a lot going on, if they're not big bosses, if they're not leaders in the industry, then they really can't keep up with you, right? So that the men that you encounter and also that you maintain relationships with or like to be around, Mars conjunct Regulus, men that have a lot, men that are kings, men that are strong, men that are leaders.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No,
right,
that
that's
makes
such a mainstay of your life, right? People don't
that
say
makes
things like that to me. You do.
that makes absolute sense to me. And that's why if a guy has come along and like at a certain point, I believe them in them more than they believe in themselves, it ends. But then like I'll say, like, no, like if I'm fucking with you, you must have something going on extraordinary, or I see something in you, because I'm not going to waste my time. Because again, if you ever, are you familiar or not familiar with like the book Dune? Are you familiar with Dune at all? Okay. So Dune, they have a level of mystics, women, witches, whatever you want to call it. They're called the Bene Gesserit. And like, that's where I'm best utilized. Like, I'm not interested being the king, but I'm over here like off with his head. And that's it.
Okay, wants to be advisor to the king, right? And there you can see how your sun is in Libra in the 7th house, aspecting that Mars Regulus, right? So you're not the king, but you're working with him as partners.
That's why I couldn't do that startup. That's why I was like, ooh, like, and believe me, I am like, I'm not some like raging feminist, but then at the same time, I don't, something in me was like, and I love girl bosses. I love them, but something in me was like, ew, like this is like too masculine. This is too much. Like, I'm just a girl. Like, I don't want to be the leader of the startup. Like, because I can manage myself, but I can't manage these other people. And like, you know, in retrospect, I probably should have gotten like a business partner or like an entire team. I didn't do that fast enough. It was my first fucking time. So I get that part, but it was this part where it's just like, nah, y'all got to report to me. Like that's too much, because I like to go crawl up in my cave and my weird creative side. And if it's all rested on me, like Gary Vee said, it's all your fault all the time. So it's like, I don't want that on me. So it's just like, no. I don't want to be the king. I am best utilized right next to the king. Like, yo, did you see that? No, he a snitch. No, do it this way. No, such and so and so and so. Because I saw how that happened with my ex in Mexico, because he runs he has a property. It's like a cafe, a hospitality. It's a whole hotel and just everything. And I'd be like, no, fire that dude. No, so and so and so and so. Like, but that's the overall theme of a woman. If a woman is resting in her power in the correct way,
Okay.
That's baseline. That's baseline if they're doing it right. So it's like, I know I've got the baseline, but I know now, especially after this conversation, it's even more where it's just like, it's the Bene Gesserit. If you ever check out Dune, it's an incredible, even just the movie, you will see the Bene Gesserit. Like they will speak in the voice like such and so and so and so. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's it. So like, that's why I'm like, I'm chilling right now in my singleness at this point, because I'm preparing a space for someone that makes the most sense, that is going to be like the most utilized. Like I had like fucked around with a guy one time. He's really good looking, and so I ended up kind of like going away from him because the guy that was connected to Gary Vee, we started to kind of like ramp up. And normally, like I said, I'm usually one at a time. This just happened. The guy goes, well, what's wrong with me? And I was like, he was like, is this other guy like better looking than me? Hell no, he's not. But he got the juice and you don't have the juice and you don't have no what am I squeezing? What am I doing, bro? Like, I don't have anything. Like, you think because you look good, that means that you're literally leading with looks. And that's what's gotten you literally through this life, is your looks. You over here look maxing yourself, and that's cool, but like I need more than that to feel fulfilled. What are we gonna do? Look good at the fucking farmers market in Hollywood? Okay, thanks, great. Okay, now what's next? No, this guy is telling me I should be in a room with Gary Vee. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So that's gonna show up in a certain way, but because I believe in, you know, the power of connection, I believe in, you know, the synchronicity and everything and how everything's going right now, I'm like, all right, who is it? Who is it? Like who is it? Who deserves it? You know, who deserves it? And vice versa. And that could be someone younger. Like I've been, like the youngest guy I've been with is 8 years younger, and then the oldest is 15. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But I know that like I gotta utilize. So
Okay. Very good. Let's pause here. So, what did you think about that?
Amazing. I'm so you know, I was excited watching you, and I figured, I was like, you know what? I should just like ramble and just watch him, because of, like I said, of my abilities. I'm watching as you're lighting up with things and resonating. So it's like, I don't know the details of exactly what you're saying about the chart. I mean, now I've got this book. Check it out. My mother, ironically, who didn't even know my fucking birth time, she's just such a junior. She just would get shit. This book.
Oh, wow.
This book is from the, oh God, it's falling apart almost. It's like sun damage almost, but it is phenomenal. And I got this book from her, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And because I didn't know my birth time, I never knew what to do with it. And now having this conversation, I feel like I have a little bit more motivation to kind of dig into it a little bit more. And just seeing you resonate with what I was saying lets me know astrologically I'm moving along in the right place, and I have been moving along in the right place, for better or for worse. Because if you were just like, yeah, no, but you're like, no, oh shit, I'm like, okay, all right, this is right. This is right. Like you, like, yeah, your reactions was actually what was kind of telling me like what makes sense. So yeah, and I'm this Spica and this Regulus. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna see who those people are, because I don't know anything about that. Like, I don't know anything about that at all. So I'm excited about leaning into that for sure. Do you know that I was gonna tell you offline, because like, again, like I'm kind of leery just about like just the conflict with stuff, but you know the app Sanctuary?
I guess I've heard about it.
Oh, that's the app that I'm on doing reading. So it's actually got a pretty comprehensive astrology thing. So like I said, my friend because I don't know shit much. She says, no, dig into that. It's actually like pretty cool. Like just lay people to kind of like look at it. So I've been like, that's why I'm looking at the houses and looking at things and listening a little bit more. That's why I was really excited about this, because I was like, all right, I don't know shit really. And I'm just learning what I've been learning in the past, like couple, like literally I got this information 2021, you know? So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Let me just stop recording, and then you and I are gonna talk for a couple more minutes. Is that fine for you? Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So for everyone that's watching, thank you for making it through with Lynnette and I. And we will see you on the next episode of People and Planets. All right, signing out.